Introducing Robinhood Legend, our brand new browser-based trading platform. In this video, I'll walk you through Legend's key features, everything from charts to the options chain, watch lists, and more. I'll also walk you through how to place trades, track your positions, manage orders, and customize your setup for maximum efficiency. Let's get started. First, you're going to want to navigate to robinhood.com/legend. Once you're on the sign-in page, we'll put in our email and password, take care of all the security checks before we log in. Once we're ready to go, click login. Now, the first time you log into Robinhood Legend, you will be put on the general disclosure and acknowledgement page. Take your time, read through these carefully. When you're ready, you can agree to the terms and conditions. Now, one thing I want to point out, when you do that, the next time you log into Robinhood Legend, this will not be visible. However, you can access these disclosures from within Legend. I'll show you how to do that later in the video. Once you're ready, click agree and continue. And we've now entered Robinhood Legend. Let's just do a quick tour of what we're seeing on the screen. So when you first log into Robinhood Legend, you will have a blank layout. Think of this like a blank canvas that you can start customizing your experience. It's 24 by 24, so we can split screens into halves, quarters, eighths. It's built that way by design. In the upper left-hand corner, we have a tab that is essentially controlling the layout we are in. Right now, it's called Untitled Layout. We can rename that if we'd like. And then this will be the tab that we work in. Later on in the video, we'll show you how to add tabs, remove tabs, and start organizing your Robinhood Legend layout. In the middle, we have this market hours little pill. This is where we can access what we call auras. Think of auras like the mood of your Robinhood Legend, and the auras are based on two different criteria. One is based on the time of day. So trading session, for example, currently we're in market hours, so we kind of have this light blue aura sitting at the top of our screen. If we were trading in the extended hours after the bell, it'd be more like a red color at the top of our screen. If the market is closed, you'll see this slate gray color, and if you're trading the overnight session, it will be this midnight blue. The other criteria for the auras is portfolio performance. So if your portfolio is up or down on the day, you will see a different color. Right now, our portfolio is down about 0.5%, so you see this red color. If we were up on the day, it would be green. Let's go back to trading session for now. To the right of that, we have this little rectangle. If you don't know what any of these symbols are, just a heads up, you can hover your mouse over it and you will get a little tooltip letting you know what the button does. In this case, if we want to take our Robinhood Legend full screen and get rid of the upper portion of our web browser, we can click this button, and now we're taking advantage of the full real estate of our monitor. To the right of that, we have Add Widget. This is where we are going to add the different widgets of functionality to our layout. Currently, there are 6 widgets in Robinhood Legend: watch list, chart, recent orders, positions, options chain, and account summary. To the right of that, we have the account selector. This is a nice way to seamlessly move from one account to the other without having to log out of Robinhood Legend. One thing I want to point out, be very careful when you're placing trades. Make sure you're in the correct account. I've seen that before, and it's an easily avoidable mistake. Just always double check which account you're working in before placing a trade. So here, if I want to switch to our retirement account, I can do that with the click of a button. If I want to move back to our individual account, we can do that as well. In the upper right-hand corner, this is where we can access our account summary. Here you can see your account balances, important information like your P&L, and then below we have links to different products within the Robinhood universe. Keep in mind, if we were to click on any of these links down below, it's going to kick us out back to the old Robinhood web, kind of the OG, which we call Robinhood Classic. Speaking of, if for some reason you did want to go back to that original web experience, we can do that right here with Go to Robinhood Classic. Below that, if we want to log out of Robinhood Legend, we do that there. And then as I promised at the beginning of the video, if you want to re-access those disclosures, you can do that with this link here, as well as our privacy policy. And then last but not least, at the bottom, version number. If you're having any issues with your platform and you reach out to our support teams, this is where you can give them the version number, and maybe that can help them more quickly diagnose the problem that you're experiencing. Okay, now that we're familiar with the general setup of Robinhood Legend, let's build our first layout. As I mentioned before, to do that, we're going to use these tabs at the top left-hand corner of our screen. So let's build from scratch layout on this demo video tab. The first thing we have to do is go to Add Widget and select a widget to add. For the first one, let's add account summary. Now this is a widget, once again, you can access at any time by clicking the button in the upper right-hand corner. But if you'd like to see this information persistent on your screen, you'll add the account summary widget. By default, you'll see the account name, the balance in your account, your portfolio performance, as well as other important information. You can deposit funds directly from the account summary widget, both here in the widget, as well as the account summary menu. And then you can add some information. For example, if we want to add our P&L data for the day and our day trade information, easily addable from this customizable menu here in the upper right-hand corner. If you're trading out in public, kind of want to hide these balances so no one sees that, you can click the eyeball here and we can get into privacy mode. Click that again and it will reveal that information. Now, one thing I want to point out about any widget in Robinhood Legend is we can resize and reformat these as needed. So by grabbing the edge of the widget, either on the side or the bottom, we can resize and reshape this according to our preferences. We can also grab the corner and do both at the same time. So versatile in the way that we can reformat and resize these. The other thing we can do is we can reposition these by grabbing the top of the widget with our mouse, move it around. Maybe we want to place this on the right side of our screen, put it back on the left side for now. And let's start building this layout. So one tip I want to give everyone out there, if you're using one monitor, real estate is important. So we want to make an efficient use of our screen. And so for a widget like this, where we have a lot of information here in the middle with no data, let's tighten that up. And we can do that by moving and resizing. And notice there's a point where I can no longer make this widget any smaller. And that's by design. So once we've reached those limits, you know that's the minimum size we can have from a width standpoint. Next, let's hide a little bit of this information and just have our balances visible. And here we can still access the information below by using our mouse and scrolling up and down. So now that we've got the account summary widget set up, let's add our second widget, which is a watch list. All right, to add a watch list, we're going to go back to add widget and select watch list. Now notice as I hover my mouse over this, it is already predetermined where this watch list is going to land based on the available space on my screen. Now we can once again click our mouse button to add this watch list, or you can click and hold your mouse, and now we can put this watch list wherever we want. But notice if I try to place it in an area where it won't be allowed to be placed, Legend is going to tell me with this sort of red outline, like, nope, doesn't work, got to move it to a different spot. So for now, let's just place this down here. And now that the watch list has appeared, I'm going to tuck this under our account summary. And you can see, let's stretch this out and see the data we've got. By default, you'll be put on this My First Watch List. This is just a collection of popular stocks. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's certainly not recommendations to buy, sell, or trade any of these stocks. And by default, we'll have a series of data at the top of our screen. With any data widget like this where we have columns, we can do a few things. We can add or remove columns, and we can do that by going to the upper right-hand corner. We'll call this the three-dot settings menu. And we can customize those columns by simply check marking or removing or adding things. So for example, maybe I just want to see last price, net change, and percent change. To do that, I'm going to leave those checked, and let's uncheck volume, bid, and ask. Notice those data points are removed from my watch list. If I want to add something, it's as simple as going down and check marking the ones that aren't checked. So maybe we want to add 52-week high, 52-week low. Once again, it's totally up to you, the data points that you want to add, and it's completely customizable. For the rest of this demo, let's go back to the three columns I had mentioned, last, net change, and percent change. Now, what if you want to move some of this data around? That's also really easy. We can grab one of the column headers with our mouse, hold it, and move it left or right based on the positioning that we want to put it. So here, let's move the last price up front, and the rest of this watch list to me looks pretty good. Now, the other thing you can do is we can rename this watch list by double clicking in here. Maybe we'll call this demo video. And if we want to add symbols, we can scroll down. You see there's an add button. Let's just add a random stock. I'm going to say Lululemon, and click on that. And notice Lululemon has been added into the list, but not at the bottom. And that is because we are sorting this watch list alphabetically by symbol. If we wanted to sort by a different metric, maybe last price or reverse alphabetical order, we can just click these column headers as you see. Now, if you wanted to make your own watch list, it's as simple as going to this drop-down menu and select New Watch List. And from here, we can create from scratch a brand new watch list. We'll call this one Obi's Watch List. And just as we did before, we can add symbols by typing and searching, selecting from the drop-down menu. We can choose ones that are already pre-populated below, or if you don't know the symbol, we can just type by the name of the company and you will see that that shows up in our list. And now we can do that until we have a watch list we like. Let's go back to that demo watch list we had before. And now we've switched between watch lists. And the last thing I'm gonna do is just resize this, and we're gonna put it right under our account summary. And now, because some of this data is not visible, we can scroll left and right on our mouse to view those data points. And if you wanna see those visible all the time, remember, this is completely customizable. We can start moving this stuff around. All right, now I'm happy with what I'm seeing. I see all my data in my watch list, and now we're ready to start adding our orders and positions widget. To do that, we'll go to Add Widget, and let's add orders, and we'll also add positions. And these are two very important widgets. This is where you are going to keep track of all the orders in your account. This is your order history for the last 24 hours, and you have your working orders, filled orders, canceled orders. To the right of positions, this is where you're going to keep track of the positions in your account. In this demo account, we have 3 different positions. We have 2 options positions, one in Apple and American Express. And then we have a stock position in Nike. Whatever you do with these 2 widgets, just make sure that it's got all the data you need to help make your decisions, both for managing your orders as well as your positions. And once you're comfortable with that, find a good position for both of these, because these are likely 2 widgets that you're gonna wanna keep on your screen at all times. For this setup, let's move positions below orders. For this video, let's stretch this out so that we can see all of the default data. And I'll do that for both orders and now positions. And so now we've stacked orders on top of positions. And if you want to give more real estate to one versus the other, we can do that as well by just adjusting the size and finding the edges of the widget. And there you go. Now we've got some more real estate for our positions down below. Maybe you want to do the opposite. Once again, there's no wrong answers with Robinhood Legend. You set it up to your preferences and what you need to do as a trader and investor. The next widget I'm going to add is the option chain. So if you are an options trader, you'll have access to this options chain. And here we can layer in a 2-sided option chain, which is the most important piece of information you need as an options trader. We have a whole video on options chain, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but by default, you'll see calls on the left, puts on the right, your bid and ask price, and the strike prices in the middle, sorted in ascending order of strike price. So lower price strikes at the top and the higher price strikes at the bottom. If we were to close this up, you'll see all the list of expiration dates, as well as the available options metrics in addition to bid and ask. Just like we showed with the watch list, if you have data on this screen but limited real estate to show it, you can scroll your mouse left and right, and those data columns that are hidden below the bid and ask price will be visible. Keep in mind with the option chain, the bid and ask are always anchored to your screen because this is where you're going to queue up an order to either buy or sell an option. Now, you might be saying, Obi, we've run out of space and we haven't even added a chart to our screen. That's where we can add a second tab to our layout. Going to the top of our screen again and clicking this plus, we can now select a new layout to build. And we can do this from scratch, or we can do this from template. For this part of the video, let's do this from template. And what this allows you to do is sort of take out all that work we just did and use a pre-built template for your screen. We have 8 templates to start from. We have stock trading, options trading, advanced options, chart spotlight, positions analysis, positions tracker, watch list tracker, and market tracker. Now, each layout sort of has a different theme and a form and function in mind. For our example here, we want to build something that is geared towards charts. So let's use the chart spotlight template, which is going to give us a head start in building our chart layout. Now, this template has a watch list built on the left side of our screen, as well as a chart on the right side of our screen. And if we want to mirror our watch list from the other tab, which is our first watch list, we can do that by going to demo video. And now we've populated the same watch list we have on the other tab. To the right, we have our chart. By default, we're on a 1-day, 5-minute chart. Just real quick to give you the lay of the land with charts, in the upper left-hand corner, this is our symbol. This is where we can manually change the stock that we are charting. So for example, if we want to go from Apple to NVIDIA, we can just do that. And as I click that, the chart has changed, and now we are looking at a 1-day, 5-minute chart of NVIDIA. To the right of the symbol, we have the last traded price. We have the performance for the day, both in dollar and percentage terms. And below that, we have a button to buy. So we could create a trade from the chart. If we had a position in NVIDIA, the sell button would be highlighted and we could sell any shares that we own. To the right of that, we have our basic pricing information that corresponds to each candle on this chart. So for example, the OHLCNV, that stands for open, high, low, close, and volume, that's specific to the candle that we are highlighting. Below the price candles, we have the volume candles. So once again, hovering over a candle, that last data point with V, 3.25M. That means 3.25 million shares were traded in this 5-minute increment today. In the middle of our screen, we have our drawings menu. This is where we can add trend lines to our chart and start building out our technical analysis. To the right of this is where we can add indicators. So if we want to add a study, maybe something simple like a simple moving average, we can click that, and now we're starting to get some technical analysis happening on our chart. If we want to change the time frame, maybe you want to go to a longer term chart, that happens down here in the bottom left hand corner. So maybe we want to go to a 1 year, 1 day chart, and now you can see the chart has auto expanded and resized according to both the chart duration and the interval that we have selected. And you'll see that that simple moving average is on this screen as well. Now, if you want to add a lower chart study, simple is going back to that indicators button, and maybe we want to add an RSI. So let's search for RSI. There's the relative strength index. It is automatically added to the bottom of our screen. And maybe let's add one more price drawing. We'll go to horizontal line, and you can see how quickly we're moving through this, building out our technical analysis. All very simple, clean, and quick and efficient. Once you get familiar with the charts layout, you really can do some incredible things here. We have an entire video dedicated to charts, so I don't want to spend too much time here, and let's keep kind of going through the layout that we've built. Now you'll notice as I've added a second tab to our layout, we have different names, right? We have our demo video name and then the template chart spotlight. If we want to rename that, we can double click and just call it charts. The other thing I want to point out is these little symbols next to each of these. This is a cool way to just sort of organize and visually give a personality to the layout tab. When you click on this, you'll see this menu of different icons you can choose. So by default, the chart's going to be associated with this sort of histogram. The demo video layout is more like a grid because it's just our general layout grid. If we had a third layout, maybe we wanted to add just a screen just for one big watch list. I'm just kind of going off the cuff here. If we added our demo watch list and we added a bunch more data columns to this, we could turn this one into one that's fully dedicated to just keeping an eye on quotes and a watch list. And once we're done adding all of these to the screen, you can organize and sort this as you see fit. But the point I want to make here is maybe we want to change this icon from this grid to something like binoculars. So at a quick glance, you can look at the top of your screen and know, hey, this tab, which we're going to call our watch list tab, this is where we're watching the market. Meanwhile, charts, that little visual icon gives us a reminder that this tab is dedicated to charting the market, whereas our demo video is more like a modular setup where we have our account summary and orders and positions and options chain. One last tip about building layouts. Currently, we have 3 tabs built. The maximum amount of layouts you can have at one time is 8. So once you reach 8, you've reached your limit, and at that point you'll have to decide which layouts are more valuable than others to add anything new. Now you might be wondering, what's this little rectangle in the upper left-hand corner of each of these widgets? Well, that is our linking feature, and if you hover your mouse over, you'll see a little tooltip that says linking group. And as you add these widgets to your screen, they'll sort of be by default linked together. And what this allows us to do is quickly navigate through, say, a watch list, and then all of the other widgets will update with that symbol accordingly. So for example, if I were to click on Apple on my watch list, because all of these are linked with the same color linking group, all of these widgets are going to update in real time with anything related, in this case, to Apple. And you'll notice in our recent orders, it's filtered just our orders related to Apple, same with positions, and then even our option chain is updated to show Apple options. As I click through the watch list, you can see how quickly that this information will update. You'll notice now we don't have any orders or positions in AMD, and it's told us that right there in the middle of the widget. So one thing some traders might want to do is to de-link these particular widgets from the rest of your layout, because maybe you want to always keep an eye on your orders or your positions and not have those disappear based on the stock you're looking at. To unlink, we can just go to the upper left-hand corner and select unlinked. And now when I go through, let's get rid of AMD in each of these widgets. We'll go back to the default state. Now when I go through this watch list, you'll notice the only thing updating on my screen is my option chain. Meanwhile, my recent orders and positions are staying static. All right, up to this point, we've been working on one monitor. One of the best things about Robinhood Legend is we can expand out to 2 or even 3 monitors. Let me show you how to do that. Looking from up above, you can see the monitor on the right is the one we've been working on in this video. To make a setup on your left monitor, we have to open a web browser on this side of our screen. So let's do that. You'll notice now that we have a new Google Chrome tab opened up on our left monitor, and everything is identical. And this is the first tip you need to know about creating a multi-monitor setup, is that whatever tabs you have created in your original layout, those will be absolutely mirrored when you open up Robinhood Legend in a separate browser tab. And so our ability to show 2 different things at once in terms of layouts will be determined by selecting the layout tab on one monitor and then keeping a different layout tab opened on the second monitor. So for example, maybe we want to have our sort of account setup and option chain on the left, and then we want to have our charts on the right. And meanwhile, if we had a third monitor, we could have this watch list open on a third monitor. Once again, totally up to you how you configure your setup. Now, one thing I want to point out, this is very important. If you delete or alter anything on one monitor, it's going to do the same thing on the other because it's the same account, it's the same setup. We're just sort of using different web browsers to show 2 things at once. So for example, if we were to delete our watch list on this screen, you'll now notice on our right monitor, it is no longer there. We've deleted that from our entire layout. If we change something on the screen over here, maybe let's add another stock. We'll add NEO. You'll notice now it has also been added over here. So these are the same things. We're just using the real estate of 2 monitors and the efficiency of 2 web browsers to expand this experience from one monitor to multiple monitors. All right, let's start really putting all of the final pieces of the puzzle together. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the monitor on the left full screen. And let's use our left monitor as where we'll keep our account summary and orders and options chain. Meanwhile, over on the right monitor, we'll keep our second watch list as well as our chart. Now remember when we were talking about linking, I want to make some points here. You'll notice the linking colors on my right monitor have this purple square, where the linking on the left side has more of this kind of aqua colored bluish green square. And if I click through the watch list on this side, you'll notice the only widget that is updating is the option chain that is linked to this watch list. Even though these are the same watch list, because they have different linking groups, as I click through this watch list, my chart is going to update, but my option chain over here is going to stay the same. So what we can do is we can just link all of these together. So let's find that green color that's happening on our left monitor. And now you'll notice as I click through either of these watch lists, my option chain starts to update as well as my chart. Now you might be asking, hey, Obi, why do you have 2 watch lists? You're taking up real estate. That's a good point. Once again, you might want to have eyes on something on both screens, but if you don't, we can easily delete the layout. Even though this was a pre-built template, we can delete this and then clean up some space and give all of this room to our chart. Maybe we want to add a second chart widget and have one chart for a longer term time frame and then maybe one chart for a shorter term. So let's get this back to our kind of 1 year look. And then here we'll do, let's just say 1 month, and we'll change the increment to 15 minutes and then make sure we link those together. And now we'll use our watch list on the left monitor to start scrubbing through different stock symbols. And you'll notice now our option chain is Amazon, our 1 year chart is Amazon, as well as the short-term 1 month chart. All right, by now you should be pretty comfortable with setting up and navigating different layouts and going through the different widgets. Don't forget, we have a video for every single widget in Robinhood Legend, so we go a little bit more deeper in each of those if you have questions. But now let's get to the finale. Let's play some trades. Trading in Robinhood Legend can happen from a lot of different places. Let's start with a very simple trade from the watch list. You'll notice as I hover my mouse through any symbols on the watch list, this trade button appears on our screen. And so let's say we want to place an order. I'm just going to pick a random stock. Let's say we want to buy some shares of Ford. Stock's trading for $10.35. We click the trade button and you'll see the order ticket appear on our screen. Now this is one of the unique things about Robinhood Legend compared to other trading platforms. Normally the order ticket is sort of a section within a trading platform. This is a pop-up and we can move this anywhere on our screen and we can go from monitor to monitor. So wherever you want to kind of work in this space, you can move this around. Now as I hit trade, it queues up an order to buy. It'll have a limit order as default. We can choose whether we want to do a market order, stop market order. For this example, let's just do a simple market order. We'll buy 5 shares of Ford, so I'm editing the quantity. And if we wanted to do a dollar-based order, we could do that as well. Below you'll see the market price. So currently the stock is $10.34 bid, offered at $10.35. When we place this market order, hopefully we'll get a fill near this best available asking price. Below that, we'll see our estimated cost of the trade. Because we're buying 5 shares at $10.35 a share, this is going to be about $51 out of our buying power, which is listed right below the estimated cost. And then below that, just a refresh of all those important data points. If you want to refresh the quotes, see what the new market is, you can do that by clicking refresh. When you're ready to place the trade, go ahead and hit buy. You'll notice we get a notification in the upper right-hand corner. Our order was submitted, and because this was a market order, it was filled instantaneously. Now, let's go back to recent orders. You'll see there's that Ford trade we recently placed. It has a status of filled. We bought at market 5 shares. We were filled at $10.35. The order was submitted at October 3rd, 12:18, 55 seconds. This is how we can start using our orders widget to keep track of what we've done. Meanwhile, if we go back to our positions widget, let's give this one a little bit more room. See what is happening down in our positions information. You can see there's our Ford position. We're long 5 shares at the current price of $10.35 was where we traded. And then over here we have our P&L numbers. So currently, because this trade was placed on the same day, our one-day P&L numbers are going to be the same as our open P&L, which is how much we're up or down on the trade since we established it. Meanwhile, if you look at the positions that already existed in this account, the one-day P&L numbers vary from the open P&L because these positions were open in previous days. And one thing I want you to notice about our watch list widget after we place this trade, there's now a little icon next to the symbol F. This is letting us know that amongst this watch list, we have a position, and as you see as we hover our mouse over there, it's letting us know that we have 5 shares. Now, another way that we can place trades is by going to the charts widget. For this, let's pick another stock on our watch list. I'm just going to select Walmart. We notice all of the widgets have updated. And here's where we can use technical analysis in combination with the charts to select entry and exit positions. So using our 1-year chart, let's expand this out. And to maneuver around a chart, you can kind of toggle through the x-axis, which is our time, our prices on the y-axis. We can click our mouse in the chart and start moving this stuff around and really get a granular look at the different data that we're seeing on our screen. Now, currently Walmart's trading at $80.23. Maybe we want to buy the stock if it sells off. And maybe we'll use this 50-day moving average as our entry point, which if you notice the crosshairs on the right is telling us that that's right around $75. So what I can do is I can right click on my mouse and you'll notice this menu appears over here on the right. And here's where we can put it in order to buy the stock. And it's already figured out that because I'm placing this below the current price, it's going to queue up a limit order for me. And when I do that, there's our order ticket. And we can buy on a limit order. Let's say we're going to buy 3 shares of Walmart. And to change this order amount from the limit price, we can just type in $75. And we can change the time in force because as a limit order, unlike a market order, we can change this to good till canceled, and this will work for 90 days from today. And then we'll put this in the current market hours session. And when we're ready to go, we'll hit buy Walmart. And you'll notice now we get that confirmation that our order was submitted, but now we have this cool little icon on our chart letting us know that at this level, the $75 level, we have a limit order working to buy 3 shares. We can cross-reference this with our recent orders widget, and there you see at the top of our orders, Walmart working buy 3 on a limit. So once again, connecting the dots between the orders widget and the charts widget. Now, what if we want to just cancel an order outright? Well, let's do this both in the charts and the orders widget. We can do that simply by clicking the X right here on our icon, and bam, we are out of that order for Walmart. If we want to do this from, say, the orders widget, we can do that as well. Let's pick one of these that we have working. So we have an order right now to buy 1 share of Coca-Cola on a limit. If we were to click here, you'll notice we have 2 buttons that show up within the widget itself. So if we want to cancel that, we can do that right from the recent orders widget. And once again, keeping track of our orders, we have our Nike order working. We have a bunch of orders that were filled, as well as the ones we've canceled during this video. Now, the other way you can place trades is by managing positions you currently have in your account. For that, let's go to the positions widget. You can see, once again, we have some options positions. We have those shares of Ford that we just bought, and then we also have this Nike position. So let's say that Ford position, we wanted to add a stop order. We bought those shares at $10.35. Maybe we want to put a stop order in. I'm going to throw a random number, $8 a share. To do that, we can right-click on the position, or we can select Set Stop. But I want to show off that, remember, anywhere in Robinhood Legend, there's usually a place that there's some right-click functionality on your mouse. So by right-clicking, you'll see this menu appears at the bottom of our screen. We can close our position, we can set a stop, we can set a limit, or we can increase the position. So if we wanted to buy more shares. For this example, let's place that stop order. And I'll do that. And there's our order ticket. And it's already queued up the correct amount in terms of shares that we own and the action we're taking. And once again, it's up to you how you want to navigate and use Robinhood Legend, but I strongly recommend that if you have positions that you're looking to manage, it may be best to start with executing or queuing up that order from the positions widget. And I say that because it will make sure that you get the correct amount of shares and the correct action that you want to take. Where if you sort of do it from either the watch list or the chart, you may do the opposite, where you want to sell, you buy instead. Maybe you have 5 shares, but you put in an order for 10. It just limits the opportunity to make mistakes. With this order, we're going to use the stop market. We're going to sell 5 if the price gets to $8 a share. And we're going to set this good till cancel, because the likelihood of Ford getting to $8 a share in today's trading session, we don't know, maybe it does, but the likelihood is probably not very high. So we're going to put this out as a good till canceled order. And that's important when you're doing order management. Make sure you know which orders you're placing for the current trading day versus the ones you're doing good till canceled. When we're ready to put that order in, we'll hit Cell F. We've got the notification that our order was submitted. And if we go up to our working orders, there's our order to sell 5 shares of Ford on a stop market order at $8 per share. All right, let's move from the stock world to the options world and very quickly show you how to start building some trades on the option chain. Once again, there's an entire video dedicated to the option chain, so we're not going to do everything in this portion, but to buy a simple option or sell a simple option, we can do that right from the 2-sided option chain. And this might be a little different than what you're used to on the Robinhood mobile app, because on the mobile app, there's one side of the option chain, so calls or puts, and one action. So you have to hit buy and call or sell and put. With the 2-sided option chain, we can do multiple things at once. So to queue up an order, let's first pick a stock. I'm going to go Meta for this one. And by default, the option chain is going to open up to the nearest expiration. If you want to pick a different expiration, go out, find the expiration that fits your strategy. For this, let's just pick the options expiring 22 days from now. Just pick a random expiration. Now, once again, the most important information on this option chain, in addition to the strike price, are the bid and ask price. These are the prices you can sell an option at, the bid price, or the ask price. That's the price you can buy an option at. And so to queue up an order, maybe we want to buy a call option on Meta. You'll see here, by default, you're going to get 12 strikes listed. If we want to increase the amount of strikes we're looking at, we can go to the filter button, and let's just say we want to see 24 strikes. We've now expanded the amount of strikes we're viewing. And let's go down. I'm just going to pick a cheaper option for the purpose of this video. Let's say we wanted to buy this 630 strike call that expires 22 days from now. We can click the asking price, and that's going to queue up an order to buy this option at the $3 asking price. Now, if we want to change that price, we certainly can. Maybe we want to buy this if it gets to, I'm going to say $2.75, and we want to work that order good till canceled. We'll put that in. It's done the math for us, knowing that a standard option controls 100 shares of stock. And now we have an order to buy one of these options at $2.75 per share. That's going to cost us $275.03. That order in. It is now working on our screen. And now we'll go to our recent orders, and there you see we have Meta, October 25th, 6:30 call. We're working a limit order to buy one of those, and we're working that at a limit price of $2.75. Now, what if you want to sell an option? Just as easy. We do that. Let's pick NEO for this one. Maybe you want to sell a put. We're going to use the expiration expiring, let's just say 36 days from now. And maybe we want to sell one of these out of the money puts. I'll pick the $6 strike, click the bid price, and that is going to queue up an order to sell this option. Now, even when you're in the order ticket, if you change your mind, you can go to buy to open. That will turn this into a buy order, or we can leave it on sell to open. Same workflow. We have a limit, quantity 1. The price of the option is 44 cents. Let's just use that as our entry price, and we'll do this as a day order. We'll put that order in, our order submitted, and now we have a new position in NEO down here. There's our short put. Notice in the position widget, the quantities will list positive if you're long, negative if you've sold or are short that particular position. And one thing I want to point out about the positions widget before we end the video is we can sort this a little bit better. Right now it's just listing all of our positions at once. We can group this by, say, underlying. So maybe you want to clean up that, and now you can see sort of a high-level view of all of the positions you have based on the underlying stock. In this case, we have a stock position in Ford and Nike. We have a single option position in NEO, but in Apple, we have both. And so now you see we've cleaned up our positions list so that we've sorted everything by the underlying symbol. If we want to go into one of these and see what is hiding under that, you can see this Apple position. We have a long call spread in American Express. Looks like we have a short iron condor. So all different ways to sort and organize your screen. Once again, totally up to you how you want to do this. Now, the last thing I want to point out about the option chain, you'll now see this icon next to our position saying that we're short one. If we went back to some of our other symbols where we have options position, in this case, you'll see Apple, we have in these Friday, October 4th expirations, we have this call spread saying that we're long the 230, short the 235. Once again, if you want more information on the option chain, check out that video. But we've reached the end of this introductory overview, and it is a lot. But if you've noticed as we've gone through this today, it's very quick, very easy, extremely customizable to set up a layout, make it as simple or advanced as you prefer. Once again, if you have one monitor, two monitors, three monitors, there's multiple ways to build and experience Robinhood Legend. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more tips and tutorials on Robinhood Legend. Have a question? Drop it below in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Happy trading. I'll see you in the next video.